What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Comeback Couples Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jennison, with my lovely wife,
Kendra Jennison.
Way cooler than me. We're going to talk about something that's, we're talking about freedom. So we are filming this thing, I believe today is July 2nd. I don't really pay attention. I think it's July 2nd.
It is.
And we're supposed to do it a couple of days ago. So we came in on Saturday to film this thing, and obviously freedom represented United States of America. But I think freedom has so many more meanings than just what it is. And I think since we talk typically about relationships, right? Freedom in the relationship, freedom in life. But I just want to hone in on that thing because for you listeners out there, man, woman, child, dog, whoever, Kendra served, right? Gave some time in the Army, liked the Army, went to Afghanistan. I mean, we don't need to go to that story, but you fought for some freedom. And I think essentially in my own way, I've been fighting for freedom every day of my life for the past 7 years, not just my freedom, but I had a vision today. It's not so much freedom, it was more of a Peter Pan vision, right? I'm the leader of the Lost Boys. I looked at it like from that point, man, I'm this guy that just wants to keep fighting, and I'm going to fight Captain Hook. Captain Hook is, in my opinion, it's not alcohol. It's not cheating. It's not lying. It's just people trying to steal our freedoms, right? Ourselves trying to steal our freedoms. And I'm going to keep fighting that fight against things. But what I wanted to talk about today is freedom in an expression in a relationship. I want to take this, on fact, free to be going through any way we want inside the conversation. Freedom in parenting, freedom in relationships, freedom in the gym, freedom in sport. It doesn't fucking matter. So the first thing I want to talk about or ask you is, what is freedom to you?
Great question. Love it. Freedom to me ultimately is, it's everything. Ultimately, when I think about freedom, is my full expression to completely be myself and everything that I do, whatever that looks like. So how I want to think, how I want to dress, how I want to act, how I want to parent, how I want to be a wife, without any restrictions, without any, without anything holding me, my true authentic self, back from whatever that looks like.
So when I look at freedom, obviously I believe all those same things too, but when I look at freedom, I almost think about it's such a vast, it's like...
It is so vast, yeah.
It's incomprehensible sometimes, like... You know that I study religion, I study spirituality, I study all types of things. I study the word God, or think about the word God often. And I remember from being a little boy that God was, I heard this visual painting that I still see, that God is so ever expansive that you can't see it, like, to our eyes, to our touch, to our feel, yet it's there, it's omnipresent, it's all over the place, right? Yeah. It's in everything, it's in love, it's in good, it's in bad, God is everywhere. And what's interesting about that, when I didn't think about freedom as a child, but for whatever reason, I had this, I think we know the reason, something speaks to me.
Sure.
But when I look at freedom and I look at what it is from a life standpoint, freedom actually is God. Just like God could be love, love could be freedom. It could be whatever you want. When you look at the way that the world goes right now, but look inside of your life and you think about the vast universe, like, we don't even know how fucking big it is.
It's everything, right?
It's everything.
It's such a, like you said, it's such a vast.
And you just take those two words, freedom, right? Or I guess it's not a word, but what is that? Syllables or whatever the fuck it is. I don't study English, I just speak. But freedom, right? The two words, you're free, and you actually look at it and you can have this feeling. And then I wanted to break it down all the way into the minute, but freedom inside of the relationship, freedom inside of health, freedom inside of wealth, freedom inside of travel, freedom inside of friendship, freedom inside of companionship, freedom inside of your thoughts to remember that even though people may or may not have, or they passed on, but maybe they're still here or not. Like, I look at freedom as a mindset. My
favorite thing so far is, as talking about freedom, which both of our examples are two completely different examples of what freedom is to us, but not one time did we mention anything about the government or politics, or because truthfully, if you're allowing that to determine what your freedom looks like, then you are already screwed from the beginning.
100%.
Like, holy smokes, right?
Yeah. And my opinion on the government is that's the exact opposite of freedom.
I mean, we truly, it sounds so silly, but we live to our own beat of the drum. Like, you know what I mean? How Mark and I see it, as long as we're not killing anybody, hurting anybody, and being good people, putting good energies out there, it's like, we're going to do whatever we want.
Freedom is free will. Freedom is making good choices. Freedom is making bad choices. Freedom is expression. Freedom is, well, your shirt says feeling free today.
Yeah, how funny.
But when I think if you were to look at freedom from an America context, which I know so many people, and there's some badass people that I have nothing but respect for there, that's just a small portion of what they're fighting for, right? They're fighting for what that flag actually represents, which is freedom. They want to keep it going. But inside of that freedom, that's just one thing I think is like the gatekeeper of the ever expanding universe.
Sure.
Right. And there's people out there I can think of, people who want to get on my future podcast, Army Rangers and Navy SEALs, and everyday guys, like even Dennis, right? Like who in Canada, these guys were fighting for this ideal, this belief. It's freedom is something that you can't see. You really can't see it, and you need to feel it. Now, how does that affect your relationship? How does that affect our relationship?
Sure.
Is what I want to talk about, because people like to get in and they like to have conversations, like to hear about how do we operate. I know this. I have enough control. Someone posted in one of my Facebook things today. I just blocked them, which, by the way, if you talk shit about me, I just block you. I used to want to fight you, kill you, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, if you just now talk shit, I just block you. Don't think about it. But this guy said, you have no control over yourself. And I don't know if he was talking from a form of God or a form of
Well, if that's not a self-projection, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, right. So I just blocked. I wasn't even anything bad, but I just blocked this guy. But I have absolute control over myself. That is freedom. But I actually have absolute control over nothing, because I live in something that I don't even know really, that I can't even comprehend. And inside of that makes me feel very, very small. And inside of the smallness of this expansive world of freedom that we exist in, I'm able to do life with somebody that I love. And when I look at freedom as a mindset, I look at freedom as a choice, there's so many different things inside there. And I want to talk about one, like we could go on. Freedom that's really what I sell.
Freedom, for sure.
I sell freedom. And freedom comes at a price, right? And what's cool about it, though, is there's so many little, like a clock, even though I think time is made up as well. There's so many little milliseconds, and each millisecond could be a different figment or a different segment of freedom inside of our life. The one I want to talk about is the freedom for you to be you inside of our relationship. This morning, all the way down to, like you said, we marched to our own drum, right?
We sure do.
Going to Utah this week.
Yep.
Gonna walk into a room where ideally I don't really know what's in the room, but I don't think we're the richest. I don't think we're the smartest. I don't think we're the fittest. I don't think we're the best looking, but we're going into a room because we want to unlock the next level of us.
Well, first of all, I think you're going to be the best looking, hands down. Just so you know.
Hi, baby.
But yeah, if we're talking about freedom in our relationship, I think hands down the greatest gift you have ever given me as my husband is the freedom for me to be my true and most authentic self. Through all my quirks, through all of my, me, just me. I don't want to tell people me through what I see, but you have given me
Why not? Tell me, you're free. Speak your mind. People listen to this shit because they want to hear it. There's a woman out there, there's a husband that's like, man, I just wish that we hear about this shit every day, don't we, Ryan? There's a husband out there that just wishes that his wife maybe couldn't be you, but could be more like you. I get text messages. I got a guy from text me the other day. He said, man, I used to think that Kendra was lucky to have you, but I think you're lucky to have Kendra. I wish my wife was more like that, right? Like,
right, sure.
And it goes hand in hand. But how do you see yourself? Like, that's what's cool about it. And what did I tell you yesterday when we were lifting weights? I said, I need you to visualize what your back looks like up on that stage, all oiled up and glistening, and the sequence from your suit thing, whatever, I don't know what it's called, but your suit thing that you're going to wear, swimsuit, whatever swimsuit you're going to wear, and the way that the lights are going to hit, the way that you're going to pose, the way you're going to breathe, like all that stuff matters. It's the freedom is never ending because it's a fucking millisecond mindset.
Right.
So tell me, with the freedom, who are you going to be when you get older? Well, it sounds stupid to say older, right? But
no. I love that, but
who are you right now? 3 questions. Who are you? What do you want? Why do you want it?
Who am I? It's ever changing. As I grow and continue to grow with you, and as we continue to grow together, I feel like I'm finding out more, better, authentic parts of myself. And I would never be able to do that, like I said, if you didn't truly trust and allow me to be my most authentic self. Like I said, I'm quirky. I'm kind of weird. I'm into a whole bunch of like green witchy type of vibe stuff. And anything and everything that I present to you, whether it's with my athletic dreams, whether it's my adventurous dreams as a mother, as a wife, it doesn't matter what it is, you have completely and utterly, hey babe, I love that. And for you to continuously, hey, I love you for who you are. Don't ever change that. And you giving me that and you loving me for that and has been the greatest gift that you've ever given me, because when I'm my most true and authentic self, I'm vulnerable. I'm much more open. I'm all of the things that I feel encompass a really safe and wonderful and amazing friendship and relationship, which you've given me.
Sure.
But yeah, you guys, I'm like the most weird. There's so many weird, quirky things about me that I love and and I will probably never change, and that you love that as well about me. And it's just a free, again, if we're talking about freedom, it's just a freedom inside of our relationship.
I just asked you on the way over. Mm-hmm. I said, as we're pulling down, I'll paint a picture for you guys. We live on 34 acres. We bought this farm, coming up on 3 years ago.
Yep.
It'll be 3 years and all.
August
3 years,
26th?
Was it August 26th? I don't know.
27th?
26th, 27th. Coming up on 3 years, we bought this farm, and it was a nice place. But it was a bachelor that owned it. And I told you I had this vision, right? Yeah. Vision to me is freedom. I see shit, I hear shit, I think about shit, contemplate shit every day. But pulling out of our house, I look around, I look at the lawns cut, I look at the fence that we put up, thinking about the basketball court that we just built inside of the gym. The rest of the work that I have to do inside of the gym, the other gym that we built that's out there, the dirt bike track, where I'm going to put the pool, looking at the house, the shutters, the things you've done inside. I'm looking at this house, and I say to you, I said, do I do a good job making you not feel pressure?
Yeah, and I literally said, I actually never feel pressure. Sometimes I feel horrible because I feel like I should take some of that pressure off of you, and I should feel some.
And that's
literally what I said.
It is what you said.
Yeah.
But in my freedom comes as the head.
Yeah.
As a leader, I take it upon myself to put as much of the pressure on me, because the pressure on me creates the freedom that I want. And I'm into quantifying, building systems, paying attention to everything we do in the business, in my life, and structure, and everything, like working out, discipline, something that got me here. But at the very same time, I fucking hate rules, which is a crazy thing about freedom, right? Freedom doesn't have to be one way or another. But when I looked at that, for me, I'm on this quest to quantify and be able to see things. How do I quantify things? Is how my wife interprets her life, how my kids interpret their life. I think back to being a child, having this childlike freedom to dream and dream and dream, and people coming in to shut down my dreams. And then I watch this world. Even this morning, I'm not going to share the conversation, but the conversation I had on something that all of a sudden someone was telling me what I don't want. But the reality is I know what I want.
Yeah.
Right? And the reason that I said that about the pressure was because that is freedom to me. And that's just a fucking minute part of it. So for the guys out there, when you look at this, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And the crown sometimes looks like freedom. The crown sometimes looks like pressure. And if you can look at your wife and she can smile at you at the end of the day, even though you might be struggling with drinking, with drugs, or with the business, with the pressure, or this recession bullshit, things that are going on, like, that is a privilege. And we really break it down in our life and you look at it, because freedom, I would say, is actually one of our overall arching values that we want, like our end result, which we're going to talk about. But when you can look at it and say, I'm actually moving towards this freedom, this fiery, beautiful vision of freedom that I have, you can find solace in the fact that you're not perfect.
100%.
And that was a long way for me to tell that word, solace in the fact that you are not perfect.
And I think it's really, really important for the wives on here to hear that we almost talk about it on every podcast, that I truly look to you in your leadership to guide our family in the future, the vision that you cast for us. I mean, we talk about it and we have our goals and I know where we're going, but I mean, our family looks to you for that clear vision on, hey, this is where we're going. This is how we're going to get there. And it's really important. And heavy is the head that wears the crown. And I feel like the gentlemen need to understand that, yes, that pressure is a privilege 100%. The wives need to allow their husbands that freedom to build that future, because there's so many wives and it is a thing. Like I've trusted everything. You are a man who says whatever you say you're going to do, you freaking do. And it's been that way from the beginning. But it's really, really important that these wives are allowing their husbands that freedom to do such a thing. Because if I was constantly on, I mean, there's hours, there's days of this whole week actually that you worked crazy long hours, right? And if I was continuously on you and nagging you and bugging you and telling you that you work too much, or telling you that this isn't how this is supposed to be, and now I got to take it. Like, if I was that way, that's not allowing you the freedom to cast the vision that you've casted for us. So it's really important that the husbands are casting that vision of what that freedom, that future looks like for your family, doing exactly what you say you're going to do, so that way your wife can get on board with what you're doing. And the wives, you really need to allow that freedom for your husband to lead and to be able to take that vision to fruition.
And I think part of the problem, that was a great thing, but I'd like man, wife, maybe to do it together, is I'd like to always, I'm sure if you listen to this or you're being coached by me or whatever, I always like to try to give you something. One of the things that I think I'm better than anyone else at is giving you ideas and concepts to go act on. You can listen to all the shit that you want, but without action, knowing what to do, you don't know what to do. And a lot of people just regurgitate the same stuff, but don't tell you what to do. Literally go into the middle of a field or somewhere tonight outside when it's dark, sit by yourself, look up at the sky, and really think about what freedom means. Not from such a small, closed off mindset of the freedom in the United States of America, which I absolutely love. I'm talking about the freedom to be and exist as a icon in your own world. And when you start looking at yourself and framing up different mindsets, that starts with the man, yes, but that comes down into the woman. My confidence in me, my confidence in where I'm going, my confidence in what we're building has allowed you to be more confident. I look at the changes and the transformation that you made inside of your life over these past going on 5 years for me. I mean, we went from having a conversation yesterday talking about how, you know, your mom wanted you to sell that car and these types of closed off, non-free mindsets, to where I'm shifting. You're like, hey, you know, we're going to invest a few $100,000 here. Just so you know, I'm going to pour $100,000 into my self-development this month. Yeah. Right. And you're like, okay, I believe, because that's where we're fucking going.
Exactly.
And even what I want to connect the dots is, for the guys out there, freedom should excite you. The women, freedom should excite you. It should make you feel every day like when you get up every day, you have something to thrive for. And I know there's people that are going to listen to this in other countries, and maybe freedom doesn't mean the same thing to you as it does here, because you're overlooking or have different words for it. But freedom is a mindset.
Freedom is intrinsic. It's inside of you. It is whatever you allow it to be. If you are trapped in your mind, if you think you're a slave to whatever you're a slave to, whether it's lack of confidence, lack of anything, then that is your reality. Freedom is intrinsic, so it is what you say it is.
I don't want to chop this up, but I'm going to take, I believe it was Paul in the Bible, and thinking about freedom, thinking about God, how they're kind of intertwined, right? With sure. The feeling and thought of both those things are so big and so massive, they're kind of hard to comprehend because they're in all things. But I think it's Paul. He got put in jail or whatever, and he could have been down and out and given up and getting beat and stuff like that. But he chose to spread the message and pray and talk about the freedom to him, right? He was able to fixate on this thing that he never even saw, or maybe he saw, but he never really truly comprehended what it was. And when you look at it inside, it as a choice. And he was freeing himself from what was going on, putting himself in a state of mind to get through what he was going through. And I believe then he got out and he was able to go spread the message and help Christianity. I'm not trying to take this down that type of thing, but freedom is mindset. Freedom is interaction. Freedom it's everything.
It's intrinsic to you. It's
nobody can take it from you.
Nobody can take it from you.
Nobody can take it from you. Which, if we wanted to skip back on topic, which sometimes I don't really like to do, but in this world right now, the liberals, the Republicans, and this and that, and all this bullshit, man, people are trying to rob you of your freedom, not by what they can actually take you, but how they're stealing your mindset.
100%. I love that.
Right? They're not really taking your guns away or this away or whatever. They're taking your mind away. When they take your mind away, you lost. I don't know if anyone's ever been punched in the face, or been punched in the face, hit by a car, knocked out, like all these different things. And the split second when I come back, like that light snaps, right? Or something bad is happening. It comes back. That is the spark of freedom inside that yearns for me, right? Like I yearn for it. I feel it because that's what makes me feel alive. So not only is freedom a mindset, freedom is life. The question is, how do you want to live your life?
Free AF.
Free AF. So I want to talk other thing, just real quick, because we're going to get on. We got to go. Speaking of free, we're looking at going to buy a motorhome or something right now so we can travel the world, roll around. Free as fuck. As she says free AF, I say free as fuck.
Bathe naked in natural springs.
Bathe naked
under
in
a
natural
full
springs.
moon.
Freedom. Yeah. All right. That's going to be real great. The ability to pass it on to your kid is a choice. And I want you just to elaborate, because I just like to throw things out there. We have 3 kids, right? One too young to really kind of figure out exactly what any of this shit means right now. She thinks rules don't apply to her because the way that I created freedom, she literally
She's
thinks
the baby.
Literally thinks that there's just no rules. And then we've got Phoenix, who's super grateful and free with like just a great person. Then we got Jade, who's great, loving, beautiful girl, but her mindset is being robbed from her. And I know I just seen your change in the make. I want the parents to understand we can't control her thoughts, but we can fill her full of every single thing that we can do to make her battle the evil.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know that we come from a quote unquote blended family. We hate using that word.
I think blended, I think of a fucking milkshake.
Yeah,
right?
you're right. Yeah. But yeah, Mark's 100% right. Our daughter, both of our daughters are at a young, impressionable age, as we all know how that works. But she has at her dad's house, it's a completely different mindset and a completely different way of living than it is at our house. So you can imagine the conflict in this little girl's brain every day of like, okay, well, this is what my dad says, and this is what my other dad says. And holy cow, she's just a 9-year-old girl trying to figure it all out. And it is something that we do battle with. But instead of trying to tell her exactly how to think and what to say, and this is what you need to do, we allow her to figure it out by how Mark and I live and in our actions and what we do, because ultimately that's exactly, she's going to see it before,
That's what I wanted to talk about. What was so important, man. We choose to show up everything in our life. If I'm emotional and angry, you're going to see it on Facebook. Although I've been doing tons of posting just because I'm freaking just not really into it right now. But we don't sugarcoat it. We don't just show a highlight reel. So I share things like that because you can watch people out there and you think that their lives are so much better than yours, but everybody's going through something. And my point of saying that was there's going to be, you can have all the desire for freedom. And I could get up, for me personally, I get up every day to create this freedom and abundance for my family. This never ending quest for greatness, for health, for wealth, I literally have a grandiose vision, probably so big that most people think I'm nuts to talk about it. But it makes me feel good. Yeah. So I can get up and I can chase that, but I can also watch, and this is what's very important as another takeaway, watch the people around your kids, because you can pump them full of good and positive and love. And I'm good at my job.
You're great at your job.
I'm great at my job. I'm great at being a parent. I'm great at what but it is fucking hard. And the reason I wanted to say that was because you got to watch the people in your world, right? And some of these people you can't just say goodbye to, but that's also a fucking lie.
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm.
We're making choices right now in our life to fix this. It doesn't happen like that.
Right.
It's a methodical choice to create freedom. I remember I told you a few weeks ago, I always have a plan for what we're doing.
You always do.
Always have a plan.
Yes.
It might not make sense, but here's what I want the guys to take. Look at your kids. They're a direct reflection of you. And I'm not even saying the Jade's but it's as the father, I got to build her up.
It's just one of those things. We take being a parent so seriously, and we want to every day be better. How can we better parent our children? How can we lift them up higher and higher? And so other parents maybe in our position wouldn't even think that this is an issue. But to us, it's like, oh my gosh, this is what we're seeing because we are so intertwined with our children, every emotion, everything.
Well, which I think comes back to the freedom mindset because it's not just about money, right? Like these kids, regardless between all the parents, myself, money, all these kids are going to be more well off than we've ever been, right? So they don't really have to worry about that thing, but they do have a good parent, a man who's in touch with his freedom, a man who leads his family, a woman on his side who's in touch with the freedom, and they can go together. They're going to understand that when you're building your kids, you're not just building it to give them money, you're building the people. I have friends that I watch and respect and love who have nannies and things like that full-time building their kids and stuff like that, but these kids are going to crumble.
Right.
They don't have a fucking dad like me that's out there charging forward and showing them.
Right? That's the biggest thing. Showing
them when I did a video the other day. Phoenix was with me. He could tell I was having a bad day on Wednesday. And he asked me, Dad, is everything okay? Like, he calls me out on it.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're in tune with what I'm doing. I'm in tune with them. Now, that's going to be another topic, another conversation. But what I want to do on this 4th of July weekend, I want to wrap this up because we're going to get back on next week. We'll talk a little bit more about parenting and stuff like that. But I want you guys to understand that every day you get up is truly a gift. All right? What's your take on that? Do you believe that too, babe? Oh
my gosh. Do I ever believe that?
And it's what you do with it 24 hours a day, 86,400 seconds a day. We talk about these non-refundable minutes lately inside of the program. But when you look at every second, sure, I want to win. But I also never want to give a second of mine to somebody who doesn't matter or something that doesn't matter. Yep. And inside of that is a ginormous, just never-ending, expansive quest for freedom. And if you are an American citizen, it is your right, it is your duty, it's obligation, man, woman, dog, child, bear, that bear that was trying to run through our yard last night, right? No matter who you are, you have the ability to be free. Don't let anyone take that from you. Don't let a drink take that from you.
Don't take it away from yourself either.
That's even better, right? Don't, ultimately you are the one I fucked that up, right? Like, don't let yourself take it from you. You've probably seen my ad of alcohol as a thief. Dude, you are a thief. That's really the whole thing of it. So tell them something good. Wish them a happy 4th of July. And
that's right. Mark and I wish you guys the best Independence Day. Have fun with your family. Be safe. Enjoy the moment. And really always remember that your kids are going to believe and do what you do. Action over everything. That's it for today's episode of the Comeback Couples Podcast. We'll see you next week. Happy 4th of July.